And the day is finally here that we get to start official DIY fall crafts on this channel. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload, and let's get on into our first fall DIY decor 2019. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Katelyn, and if you love to DIY and make crafts, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can join our crafting community. I make a lot of farmhouse decor as well as DIY Dollar Tree projects, so we have a lot of fun and just getting creative and bouncing ideas off of each other and just trying to make this a creative space. So I would love it if you would join in on all of the fun by subscribing. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers, so it would mean a lot if you would subscribe or share this video with someone that you know that also enjoys to craft or make DIY projects. Today I am making some fall projects using Dollar Tree items, so make sure that you stay tuned to see how to put that together. So the first project I will be making is a set of some fall jars with some faux florals in it, and I love these little signs. I'm going to be using a couple of these Buffalo Check Thankful signs from Dollar Tree, as well as some of these little jars. I love the black lids. I didn't really mean to get these different, but they just didn't have 3 of the tea light holders, so I just grabbed an extra of the normal jar with the black lid, and then I picked up an assortment of these fall flowers from Dollar Tree. They have beautiful flowers out right now, and I always want to make sure that I do pick them up early so I don't miss out on the ones that I want to get. I still have never seen the cotton stems in any of the Dollar Trees that I go to, so I definitely need to go ahead and just break down and order them online and have them shipped to my house, because I'm sure that I would find a way to use them all. So starting with these 2 Buffalo Check signs, I wanted to find a way that I could make like a platform for my jars. I know a lot of jars on Pinterest have little crates or little wooden boxes that they set into that makes them just really beautiful, but it's kind of hard to construct like a wooden box or crate out of Dollar Tree items, and I didn't want to turn this into a really hard craft or anything that was too difficult, so I just thought it would be fun to lay these over on the side. This doesn't really make something that they can set down into, but it just kind of makes like a platform that they can set up on. It adds the Buffalo Check into my fall decor, which is something that I'm really trying to work with this year, and I just didn't want the thankful words on the top, so I'm just laying them down, and then I'm going to paint the tops over. I do want to go ahead and pick up some extra of these signs because I just love them, and I do want one as is just setting around the house. I think it is so beautiful. But like I say, I'm just going to be painting a couple coats of that over the top to make sure that all of the font and all of the pumpkins are hidden. And then I'm going to glue both of these signs together and just make sure that they set really flush against each other so that the jars will set even on top. After removing all of the lids, because I do not want to get paint on them, I'm going to be using some of my moss colored chalk paint in the Waverly paint. I haven't been using this color too long. It's definitely something that I've been branching out for fall, but I am really enjoying this green color. I never would have thought it. I just never really loved this green color, but I don't know, it's just something about this green color against the black and white and gray and white Buffalo Check. I just think it pops out, but it's still kind of a neutral, and it just is a beautiful color, and it does go along really well with the grays and blacks and the burnt oranges. So I am loving it this year. We'll see how it goes for the next few years, but as of right now, all of my crafts are going to have this color probably. So you will definitely see me using a lot more of this moss chalk paint this fall season. So this jar that I am painting white was accidentally a little bit taller than the other 2, so I am putting it in the center, and I decided to just go ahead and add 1 white jar and then add a green jar on each side. I love projects like this that you can definitely customize and add in any color that you want to match your fall decor. So even if you wanted to add like turquoise or a tan or a gray to the sides and keep it neutral, you could, but I'm just loving, like I say, this pop of color. And then once I screwed back on the lids, I just think it looked really farmhouse and really rustic and kind of really what I was going for. So now I want to show you what it looks like all put together, and I am just setting my jars on top. I didn't make anything fancy, like I say, for them to set down into. This is just super simple, but I am really liking how it looks. So I also picked up some of these little wooden pumpkins from Dollar Tree. I originally thought that I was going to use the natural wood one and not add any orange into this project, but after I saw this, I thought that I could add some of my elephant gray. You all know that I dry brush this on top of everything, so I'm just going to add a little bit on top of that to make it kind of dull down the orange and give it more of a rustic look. I wanted to show you really quick what a before and after would look like and how it really dulls down the paint, and it definitely has more of a weathered look. So I wanted to make a really quick little jute string bow, and by doing this I just like to wrap the string about 4 or 5 times around 2 fingers until I get the loops as large as I would like, and then I just tie that with another small piece of jute string and then pull all the tails down to the bottom after I get it tied really tight, and this makes the perfect bow. I did have some long tails, so I just went ahead and added a double knot on there so I could go ahead and glue that on the back of the pumpkin, and this just worked out really great. So I was able to just add a dab of hot glue and then push the knot down into the glue, and it would just dangle perfectly like I had tied it down there or looped its own string on the back. These jars were completely fine as they were. You do not have to distress them. You all know I just have a bad problem with sandpaper. I have to distress everything. So I really liked how it looked, but like I say, you do not have to do this. You don't have to let the glass show through, and I just really liked how the paint looked roughed up and it just looked more rustic. For my floral, I decided to go with some different kind of sunflowers. Well, I call them sunflowers. They're really called cone flowers, I think. I'll have to double check that. But I just love the color of them. They're not really like a yellowy tone. They're more of like a beige, and they just go really well with everything. With so much white painted on this little project, I didn't want to use white flowers, and it's hard mixing whites because a lot of time at the Dollar Tree they do have like super bright white or a yellow white, and there's not really like pure white flowers there. So I really liked how these little cone flowers looked on the edges, and then I just stuck in some of these little cream colored mums. And I love this wheat. I think it's really pretty, but I am not about those yellow leaves on there, so I just decided to go ahead and cut them off. If that's your thing, you can go ahead and leave them on there. Just like I say, I am kind of veering away from all of the yellow. But I thought this was really pretty, and to get the stems down in there, as you can see, I just bent them over a couple times so that I could easily just set them down in there. And then whenever you don't cut them off and have to mess with styrofoam, you can just pull them out and use them for other projects whenever you're ready. I put it all together, and then I decided that this bright white needed a little bit of distressing to kind of to go with the whole vibe of this craft, so I just added a little bit of elephant colored chalk paint. But I am loving how this turned out. It is so beautiful. I think it's more beautiful in person than it's even capturing it on a film. It's just such a statement piece, and I had it sitting on the counter and I've moved it around a few places, but I just think it is so pretty and so cozy, and it is just exactly the perfect colors and patterns that I'm going for my fall decor this year. For my next DIY, I'm just using an older sign that I had picked up in spring, and then this brown craft paper roll. I love how craft is spelled with a K on there. I just love how it looks, and you know, that's me. But anyways, and then I picked up some of these window clings. You can tell that my daughter had already picked off half of the leaves on there, but I wasn't going to use those anyways. I'm going to use some more of those wooden stickers, as well as this wooden coffee sign, or this little plaque or little clip. I'm not sure what you call it, but I was excited to find that. My Dollar Tree had a ton of these, so I hope you can find that if you want to make this. And then I'm also using a faux wood paper, scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby that's around 69 cents, but I got it on sale. So a lot of inexpensive items, but they come together to be really cute, and I'm excited for you to see the finished product. So for this sign, I talk about all the time how I want to paint the back. I don't like the glittery back on there after I redo signs. So I thought it would be fun to try. I talk about it all the time, how you possibly could use craft paper to cover the back, but I actually wanted to do it on film so I could show you all what it turned out, and I'm really liking how it looks. I just put the sign on there and traced around it, and then I'm just going to glue it down directly on the back of the sign to cover up all of the pattern and everything. I'm going to be using Dollar Tree glue. You definitely could try to use Mod Podge or hot glue. I just thought this would be the easiest way to make sure that it's all held down nice and tight. Pictures of sunny days with your smile in the bar. How could they say I was broken? So this video is definitely turning out to be a lot different than my normal videos. It is a lot longer, and I just wanted to be able to timestamp projects if you wanted to go to the one that you wanted to see. But I didn't want to rush this. I wanted you all to be able to craft along with me. Sometimes my favorite YouTubers, I just enjoy, like if it's a cleaning video, I like them just taking their time. Even if it's a big long video, I just enjoy them talking. So let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. But for this sign, as you can tell, I just cut the faux wood background scrapbook paper down to size, and then I'm using some more of that Dollar Tree glue, but I mixed it with a little bit of water to make some DIY Mod Podge, and that way it just waters it down and it's not so thick, and I'm able to press my scrapbook paper down on top, and then I'm going to try to get it as even as possible and then put another layer of that on top. Now I know that it's okay. Unlike my friends, you are nothing like them. How could they say I was broken? How could they say you made me come undone? Now I know that it's okay. After all of my Mod Podge had dried, I took a piece of sandpaper and kind of went around the edges. I intentionally cut this paper a little bit short so some of the brown would show around the edges. I just love the look of that. If you don't want to, you can go ahead and cut it to size. I was kind of nervous at first and I barely sanded it, but then I took a more coarse sandpaper and really started peeling the paper off of the edges. I love how the corners looks. It just looks like it was made onto there and it's not a piece of paper. So the next thing that I'm going to do after I had my sign prepared, I'm going to take my little coffee sign or coffee plaque and go ahead and remove this. I love that little photo. I think I'm going to glue that into my planner or something because I don't want it to go to waste. I thought it was so cute. I love drinking coffee, but I'm going to go ahead and just try to remove everything off of this sign and try to sand it down and take care of it as I'm going so that nothing does get damaged. I did have to pull back that little clip. It did have a screw in it, so I just unscrewed that and then once again sanded it down. I'm holding on, if almost gone. Someday I know I'll finally make it through the gates. Just have to Waverly does sell a color in ivory, and that's what I was looking for. I know I've purchased that, and I know I haven't used it a ton, so I don't know what happened to it. I was looking the whole house over for it, or in all of my craft supplies. So I thought that I would just make a little mixture of some white and a tiny bit of brown to get this little bit of off-white ivory color, and I'm just going to give this coffee mug a base coat of this color. And I didn't like how dark it was at first, so I did take a little bit of white and go over it, and then I'm going to use the brown to color in the lid, and then I'm going to paint the little insulation part on the outside with some of my mineral color chalk paint. I ended up mixing a little bit of that brown into it because I really wasn't liking just the mocha color. I tried to test it on some of my ivory color paint and it just wasn't dark enough to make the little cardboard piece around it dark enough, but I really like how it was coming together, and then I'm just going to paint the center of this to look like that. I absolutely love coffee, and it's something that I drink almost every day. It's all the time, it's every day, but sometimes I've been skipping lately. But I really enjoy my coffee, especially morning coffee before the kids get up. So I enjoy little coffee signs around my house. Let me know in the comments below, do you drink coffee and what's your favorite thing to order whenever you're out? I don't really know what to order whenever I do go order coffee, so I would like some suggestions. I always ended up getting my favorite drink, which is usually the white chocolate mocha from Starbucks, so I just pretty much stick to what I know. But let me know in the comments below, because that would be fun to try new things. So moving on to these little wooden stickers. I love that Dollar Tree is carrying craft supplies for us a ton the last few years. And I didn't wash out my brown brush. I just went ahead and dipped it in some of this pumpkin colored orange paint from Waverly. And with the brown mixing in it, it does look a little bit more darker, and I really like that effect. I went ahead and touched on this with a little bit of sandpaper, but you definitely wouldn't have to, but I kind of like the look of it, like I say, looking rustic. I thought it was looking so cute gluing that little pumpkin in the middle. If you wanted this to be hung up all year, you definitely could trade this out or put a piece of Velcro. You would have to change the wording because it does say pumpkin spice on the sign, but it's definitely something that you could make that is not just for fall. So I went ahead and repeated the steps as I did before to make another little burlap bow. I made it a lot smaller, and I just wanted to hot glue it on there. I thought it looked so cute. I love it. I just love it. I think it was cute. So I'll admit I was kind of nervous adding this window cling to a wooden sign. I just knew, since it was see-through, that it would get bubbles or dried up glue underneath, and I was scared that you would be able to see it. So I tried to be super careful and do everything perfect. I applied a very generous amount of this glue or Mod Podge to the back of this, and then whenever I pressed it down, I tried really hard to make sure that there wasn't any bubbles underneath.
I need you tonight. Together we can go crazy. We can put out the lights. Together we can go, we can go. I look straight in your eyes.
After I made sure that everything was nice and bubble free, I went ahead and added another coat on top of that, and then I just hot glued down my little coffee cup, and it was easy as that. I love how it came together. I think it's really pretty, and it's something that unique that I'll have in my home, and if you make one, you'll have one. But I just think made from Dollar Tree things, I was really surprised with how it turned out, and it's really pretty, and it looks like it's store-bought. I know this isn't just typical fall decor, but I love having little whimsy pieces like this throughout my home. It just adds to the little coziness and fun of the fall season. I think this project was my absolute favorite. I just love how it turned out. I'm going to be using one of those large orange pumpkins as well as one of these smaller pumpkins from Dollar Tree. I just ended up using the extra pumpkin to get the stand so that this large pumpkin will stand up, and I did test it to make sure that it wasn't too heavy, and it did stand up on there. So first thing, I'm going to remove both of them from their stands and then remove the little tags and the metal leaf that came on there, as well as removing all the labels and get everything nice and sanded down. I wanted to give this a couple coats of the white Waverly chalk paint, and I'm sure on YouTube you have already seen a billion pumpkins painted in these Dollar Tree DIY videos, as well as coming this year, coming up, we have just gotten started, so I'm sure you will see a million more pumpkins painted, especially white in this farmhouse look. But I wanted to take my time and try really hard to make these different and just show you how to shade and this kind of my painting techniques. Whenever I used to set up at craft fairs, this was like my favorite thing, was to paint the pumpkins in the fall. I love adding the little shading, and you can make them look so dimensional by adding different colors. So I'm going to go back to my moss color green paint and use this again on this smaller pumpkin, so it does still add that color throughout my home, and those little pops of color are just so pretty and they all coordinate so well. I'm just loving that. So I gave this a couple of coats too, and then I'll go back in and show you shading in just a moment. So I've got some of my silver lining, which is a very light gray. Like I say, whenever I want my pumpkins to look like three-dimensional or add texture to them, I love to add several different shades of coloring into them. So on top of the white, I think the gray looks best. So I'm taking my light gray paint and I'm just adding around the edges. Not perfect, but just kind of turning my paintbrush on the side and just shading it like darker in the dark lines that you can see, the more bold lines that I want the shape of the pumpkin, and then just like taking it very lightly or in the center and on the sides. I want to do the same thing for the green pumpkin, but obviously I don't want to do it in the gray colors. I want to add a lighter green, so I mix some of the same moss color paint as well as some of the lighter celery color. That's still in the Waverly chalk paint, but they mixed together, it just lightened it up a whole lot. And you can see that I just wasn't satisfied with that. I thought the lines were too straight, so I just take a baby wipe and tried to remove all of that and then start it over. So don't worry if you mess up. I've done this a million times. I just wipe it off, but as much sanding and stuff that we do at the end, it really does not have to be perfect. I just worry to death about, I guess, making it for like these videos. I want them to look really good, and I'm kind of a perfectionist. Not really, but kind of. So while that gray paint was drying, I went ahead and sketched out what I wanted my stems to look like. I just give them a little bit of a wooded area on top, as you can see with a pencil, and if you mess up, it's something that you can easily go back in and erase and try again. And then I'm going to fill this in with my truffle paint, which is kind of a darker brown color. I love this color, and I love how the brown is like contrasting so pretty against the white and the light gray. I love how Dollar Tree adds these little metal pieces onto their decor pieces. I think it just really elevates it and adds a lot of detail, but I didn't like how shiny silver that it was. I wanted it to look more galvanized, so I did take a little bit of my elephant color and just kind of dab it all over to dull down the shininess. So like I say, I do want to add a ton of different colors, or not a ton, but 2 or 3 different colors to make it really look shaded. So I'm taking my elephant color chalk paint and then kind of like a smaller brush and one that is like longer with a finer tip, and then I am gonna go in and just go over my bold lines as well as add a little bit in the center. And then I love the effect that it gives whenever you put that dark gray over the brown on the stem. It gives it a lot more detail too. So then I'm gonna do the same thing for the white one, except try to be super careful because everything shows up way more on the white color. And like I say, just go back in really lightly. Try to empty out your brush whenever you are doing in between the bold lines. And then once again, I think it looks so beautiful on that stem. It gives it so much dimension. And then I really wanted to lighten up these harsh lines. Like I say, I love how they are really contrasting with each other, but they were a little bold, and I do want this to look farmhouse and kind of lighten it up so it goes more with like airy fall decor rather than kind of like harsh. It almost looks like Halloween. But I went over the stem a little bit too, and make sure that you are letting your paint 100% dry before you sand it. Way too many times I try to sand it before it's dry, and there's like a little bit pulled up on the edge and it smudges paint all across something that I've worked really hard on. So make sure that you are letting your paint dry. I did do it in this project a few times, but I have to cut a lot of those out or we would be here absolutely all day long. Gluing my leaf down, I place it over a place that I had messed up. And then I'm taking out those little metal words. Dollar Tree had them back this year and I'm super excited about them. Actually, whenever I checked out at Dollar Tree, the lady was saying that someone actually mentioned my name whenever they were purchasing the little metal wood signs, so that was kind of exciting. I don't know, but I'm so excited that they did have these. I went the first time that I noticed fall decor out, and they had a basket full of these metal letters, and then I went again and they were completely gone, so I really don't know what happened to them. I didn't expect them to sell out that fast, but I guess they just go super fast. So if you do see these, go ahead and pick up several. I gave this a couple coats of the black paint, just an apple barrel paint, and I'm just trying to tack this down. These are kind of difficult to get tacked down perfect because they are such fine font and thin metal, so it's hard to apply the glue, but I thought it looked really pretty. I thought it kind of looked like Cricut vinyl whenever I did lay it on there and glue it down. And I don't know what really inspired this, but I thought it would be so cute to have like a little stitched on heart. It just kind of reminded me like of a little scarecrow or something, but I just freehanded a heart out of some printer paper, and then I'm going to paint it with my white Waverly chalk paint, and then to make it look stitched on, I'm going to go over it with a black Sharpie paint marker. I thought it was so cute adding these little stitches. You can tell that once again I'm trying to get in a hurry and I'm not letting my paint completely dry, and it's kind of smudging up my Sharpie marker. So I need to learn patience. I've been trying to take my hairdryer and dry in between each coat. I definitely need to look into getting a heat gun. So many people have recommended that. But I'm going to hot glue these down back into their stand so they will stand up. I love these little stands. This works perfect. I honestly didn't know if the large one was going to stand up or not, but this worked really nice and it does not tip over easy at all, so it worked really good. I think these look so cute, and like I said, you definitely could use a different color if you do have a different color that you're using in your home. But these look so pretty. I think it would be so fun to make like a full mantle of these pumpkins, or a whole line of them that you could set at the bottom of your fireplace. I don't know, I just loved painting them. They were so much fun, and I definitely want to make more. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I had so much fun making this video. Honestly, whenever I was making each project, I was just trying to rush as fast as I could to get this up in a hurry because I know how many of you all were so excited to see fall crafts. Let me know in the comments below which one of these projects was your favorite. I really love all of them, but I think that the two pumpkins standing together were my absolute favorite. But I do like pumpkin spice things, and I do drink a lot of coffee, so that was really cute too. So I don't know which one's my favorite, but I would love to know your favorite. It does help me to know what kind of projects that you want to see in the future. Let me know what colors that you're going to be using in your fall decor this year so I can try to incorporate that into some of my projects. I know everybody kind of has their own signature color, so it would be fun to add colors into the neutral decor that I will be making more this fall. So if there's any ideas that you have or anything that you want to see me make, go ahead and leave that down in the comments. I think it would be fun to put together a video like choosing random comments and then having to make whatever it said. That just sounds like a fun challenge, so we might try that out. But go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy it. It really helps me out. Like I said before, I'd love it if you would subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. I get a lot of questions about that. I just always assume everyone knows, but it is completely free to subscribe. You just hit that red subscribe button, and all it does is my video will pop up whenever I do make a new DIY craft and I post the video to YouTube. But thank you all so much for joining me today. I had so much fun putting these crafts together, and I can't stop thinking about you all whenever I am crafting now. I'm just constantly thinking of all of your suggestions or tips or tricks or things you try or what you would have done different. So it's always fun to hear from you. But thank you all again so much for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!